Good afternoon, folks. Thanks for joining our webinar today. We're going to be talking about kind of all things internet, really, why your internet's Wi-Fi or streaming is struggling and having issues, and how to fix it, obviously. My background, my name is Brian Cavanaugh, by the way. I'm the founder and co-CEO at Free TV. My background actually fits this topic really well because before I created Free TV about 10 years ago, I actually worked for US West, Quest, CenturyLink for like 13 years. So obviously I've had a lot of experience with internet and Wi-Fi and streaming and networking. As you might expect, there's not a simple answer to fixing your internet issues. It is complicated. There's not a simple fix. I know we Americans love simple fixes, but we will give you a lot of information today that'll help you get you going in the right direction as far as fixing up your internet, fixing up your speed, fixing up your Wi-Fi, that type of thing. Real quickly, if you're on the YouTube channel here, you can go down to the bottom and subscribe to the Free TV channel. That'll get you lots of interesting topics and updates in the future. We talk about a lot of different things relating to obviously cutting the cord and saving people money off their bills. Our average customer saves $1,500 a year, so very significant. But we also talk about anything really related to internet, network, streaming, antennas for free TV, a whole bunch of different topics. Also, throughout today's webinar, if you have any questions that come up, I'll get to those towards the end, but you can actually put them over in the chat on the right-hand side. If you have any questions about anything we're discussing today, happy to cover those towards the end. If you're new to cord cutting, new to free TV, new to networking, clueless about networking and Wi-Fi and internet and streaming, basically what I would suggest doing is just going to our website. There's a lot of great information. It's a really good resource. So freetve.com. So 8 letters, freetve.com. If you're new, you can actually schedule a call with one of our consultants, one of our experts, and that's a one-on-one personalized consultation. That's a really great place to start, honestly. And then if you want to sign up for future webinars, watch our webinar here. We'll be updating those probably towards the end of this week with some future topics. We'll actually be talking about Comcast Xfinity and their data caps and how to avoid those, how to control your data. We have a lot of sports webinars we've done in the past couple weeks. And then we're actually going to be doing webinars in the future for people that don't watch sports at all. So anyway, a lot of different topics we'll be getting to at coming webinars. We'll also do a webinar probably in the next month or so about different internet options. There aren't that many right now, but there are some coming. So that's a great thing. So anyway, a good thing to kind of know is just future webinar topics related to a lot of different things: cutting the cord, saving money, streaming internet, different internet options. So that's kind of the summary of what's coming, but obviously the website has a lot of great topics. The news section here has some blogs that I've written and will be writing in the future about a lot of different sports things we've written in the last month or so with sports coming back online, but also in the future talking about just how to get a lot of TV, because really you can get any TV channel you want by cutting the cord. And even people that don't care about sports, how you can really reduce your bill a big amount. At Free TV, really the whole idea behind it is just providing an alternative to cable and satellite where you're not getting ripped off month over month for hundreds of dollars a month. Our average customer, believe it or not, actually saves $1,500 every year. So huge savings, and you can get all the same channels you had before, but it's also open source. So we don't care who you use, what you use. We're not affiliated with anybody. We're just consultants that have been doing this for 10 years, so we're experts at it. And we're installers, so instead of you having to try to piecemeal something together and waste a bunch of time and money, like let's say today's topic, for instance, if networking and internet and Wi-Fi and streaming is not really your thing, you just hire the experts and we take care of everything for you. So that's kind of the concept behind Free TV. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there. That's what happens when you have a monopoly with just a very few players in the game as far as TV and as far as internet goes. There's not a lot of real competition, so there's not a lot of real information out there to make educated decisions. That's part of why we do these free webinar series every week on Wednesdays, and it's also part of the reason we have a blog under the news section here on the website. And it's just part of the reason we do, free consultations for people. So if you go up here and click on schedule a call, you can get a lot of really great, personalized one-on-one information going on there. So anyway, what I want to get into today is obviously a lot of different topics, and we'll kind of touch on these, and we'll have some other future internet topics in the future webinars we do with more details. But what we're really talking about today is why your internet, Wi-Fi, networking, streaming is having issues, and how you can fix it. By the way, too, if I go to the blog section here under news on the website and just click on news, as I mentioned, we have a lot of different topics. We've done one on how to get NFL games in the Broncos for free. There's one on altitude sports, how you can get altitude sports without having to pay for cable and satellite. There's one about the Rockies. But this one I wanted to show you is going to relate to what we're talking about today, which is how to make your internet faster. So there'll be some good kind of follow-up details on the blog there as well. So just kind of a FYI. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to hit the home button here. By the way, what I'm using right now to kind of control all this on the TV, this is just a normal TV. It's not some super duper smart TV. It's probably like, I don't know, 8 years old. With what we do, you don't need to have some special smart TV. Actually, smart TVs really are kind of overhyped. They're just trying to sell you more TVs and such. With what we set up as a cord cutting setup, like I said, we exist to basically save people's time, money, and sanity instead of someone wasted a bunch of time and money trying to figure out internet networking Wi-Fi on their own. They can hire us, or instead of trying to cut the cord and piecemeal something together and have it fail and be frustrating and difficult to use, especially for your spouse and such, you just hire us to do it right the first time. We make it super simple, so not only are you saving on average $125 every month off of your bundle bill, not just for TV, but TV, internet, everything. We make sure you're knocking your $200 bill down to like 40 to 50 bucks for internet, and then we have a bunch of free TV options. So you're saving money on a monthly basis, and then you throw in whatever you need for cable channels without contracts. So any cable channel you want, you can actually get, believe it or not, and a lot less money, no contracts. You don't even need to keep it. You can do it month to month. And we're about simplicity. So it's actually one remote, has TV power, TV volume built into it. It's really easy to use, so you don't need to worry about, having to have two remotes and switch inputs back and forth, stuff like that. So super simple is what we're all about, is easy to use. So anyway, I'm going to hit the home button here. This kind of takes you in. First things first, we'll kind of get into basics of what streaming is about. Hopefully you guys are still connected. Yeah, they had a little Wi-Fi thing going on here, ironically. The thing we'll get into first is kind of what the basics are about internet streaming, Wi-Fi. Really, at a high level, without getting into the nitty-gritty, details, internet is just what's using, what's coming in, right? So you have, usually in your case, like a Comcast or a CenturyLink, which is your internet provider. It's just providing you a way to get whatever content, whether that be emails, whether that be, surfing the internet, whether that be things like, Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus or Hulu or YouTube, whatever that is, even things like, obviously the internet, but also things like Pandora or Spotify, like for streaming music. Streaming is just something that's not necessarily downloaded or something that's not necessarily live, but it's something that's actually using the internet on a live basis, basically, to get a feed of, in this case, like TV. So if we go back to like something like YouTube, where we're actually streaming this live right now, you basically need a pretty decent internet connection. We'll get into kind of all the ins and outs of what speed and that type of thing here in just a minute. The internet connection comes in from CenturyLink or Comcast. It goes into a modem, which is really, in essence, kind of a dumb piece of equipment. That modem attaches to a router. Sometimes you have a combo modem router from your internet provider that pushes out signal via Wi-Fi or wireless to different devices throughout your house, right? So you're like your laptop, your tablet, if you have a streaming stick like a Roku or a Amazon Fire, something like that. That's kind of the basic high-level overview without getting into all the nitty-gritty details. So anyway, first things first, I will show you here, which really you probably won't be doing this because this is actually on my streaming setup, the hardware that we set up for a lot of people, but on here, there's actually a speed test. So again, part of what we do is kind of help people out with the misinformation. Really, people think they need a super fast speed because unfortunately, you call in a Comcast and they say, oh, you need more speed, you need more speed. That's why your internet's not working. It's most situations. This is actually just wireless streaming stick. And you can see, like, I don't pay for a lot of speed. I'm not having like a gig or 1,000 megabits per second. I don't even have 300 or 500, even though I have a family of 4 and, I have work from home stuff and kids schooling from home now. One of my kids is a gamer. We do a lot of streaming, kind of average amount of streaming, Netflix and YouTube and Amazon Prime, whatever. I don't have some super fast speed. So that's not the magical answer that you want it to be. I know that's the quick, easy way, but really it's just the way for Comcast and CenturyLink and your internet provider to get more money out of you every month. So I definitely don't recommend going and getting more speed. So anyway, this is just kind of one example of a speed test. If you're at home, and this is actually on the blog on the website as well, you can actually pull up a web browser and go to fast.com. That's a really good way to kind of test what your speed is. Unfortunately, if you look at your CenturyLink and your Comcast bill, they don't like to tell you what speed you have because they don't like to make it easy for you to switch. They want to suck you into calling them and wasting an hour of your day, which I wouldn't really recommend doing, honestly. Basically, if you just go to fast.com, fast.com, preferably from something that's close to your Wi-Fi router, some hardwired connection. But even if you do it wireless, it'll give you a pretty good idea what speed you have. You can actually, believe it or not, stream something like Netflix, which is kind of more of an on-demand type of service, with something as little as like 3 to 5 megabits per second. I don't know that I recommend that. You don't want it that slow. You can stream live TV services. So something that's streaming live, like this event right now, or something that's streaming live, like if you're using a live streaming service like, let's say, Sling TV for cable channels or something like that, then you need a little more bandwidth. I would recommend a minimum of 20. The more people you have in your house, the more things you have going on, like i.e., if you have someone that's gaming, you probably want a minimum of 100, quite frankly, maybe even 200, especially if you have more people streaming at the same time or working from home. I would not go over 200 personally because you're just paying for more speed than you need. That's just based off what I've seen off of it, the experience of doing this for 23 years. The other thing to kind of keep in mind too is what's happening recently with COVID is actually putting a lot more pressure on our internet. So really, we didn't used to have all of this streaming stuff going on. We didn't used to have all this smart home stuff going on. And then you throw COVID into the mix, and now everyone's working from home. Your kids are schooling from home. Your grandkids maybe are over doing more stuff, streaming or whatever, or maybe they're schooling from your house. There's just a lot more pressure on your internet. Again, you still don't need over 200 speed for a normal situation. Most of our customers actually have 100 or less. Probably 75% of our customers actually have 100 speed or less. And they're able to pay only like 40 to 55 bucks a month, worst case scenario, for that speed. Again, that's part of what we do is instead of overpaying for things and getting ripped off, we chop your gigantic bundle bill down and just pay for internet only. Part of the reason we say get internet only is because all the extra fees and taxes are actually on TV and phone. The broadcast TV fee, the sports TV fee, the extra box fees, the DVR fee, the HD fee, whatever other BS fee they make up next week, right? Part of the problem with all these gigantic corporations and providers is they make up all these fees, so you think you're paying one price down here and it actually gets way up here. The way to control that is, of course, just to get internet only. Even off of the promo rates, you can get introductory rates even cheaper than what I was mentioning. You should only be paying about 40 to 55 bucks a month for internet, and most people need 100 speed or less. I wouldn't get anything less than 20. 50 or better is 50 to 100 is kind of good for most people, unless you have, a lot of the other hardcore stuff going on in your house there. What are the best options for internet providers? Well, we're going to be having a blog I'll be writing, and actually a webinar probably in about a month or so, talking about all the internet provider options that are coming towards the end of this year, really more likely in the future next year. So you'll actually have more options. If you live in Longmont, they actually have a great local internet city-based internet provider that's a no-brainer. But for most of us, it's really two options. It's either CenturyLink or Comcast. By the way, I'll go back to our website real quick. Again, there's some kind of things listed here under the different topics. But if you go to the news section, you'll have an option for the internet. I'll be adding some other blog articles to the news section in the coming weeks and months, more related to internet and saving money and what the options are, so you can kind of go back there. But this is kind of what we're getting into today. So there's some other topics out here. We'll re-up and post this webinar here after the fact as well, towards the end of this week. But Comcast is always going to be more expensive, generally speaking, and Comcast is also going to be have data caps. We'll have a webinar where we get into more of the data caps and how to get around, limiting your data usage in the coming, probably in about 2 weeks or so. We'll have a webinar on that with more details. A big part of what we do for our customers is we install TV antennas, like a more powerful outdoor attic antenna, for a couple reasons. One, it gets you free TV on all the TVs in your house. But the second thing is it actually doesn't use data at all. So it's a really good way to get away from some of these like live streaming services that are, one, charging you a lot more money for local channels when you can get them for free off of an antenna, but two, it eliminates your data usage, so you actually can stay underneath your caps. So that's just one real quick tip and trick. The second option, usually for most people besides Comcast, though, getting back to the internet provider question, is CenturyLink. Totally varies by your neighborhood. I would actually go online. I wouldn't call them because you're just going to waste a bunch of time, and they'll try to sell you more. They'll try to sell you cell phone service. They'll try to sell you why you need to use their modem and router, which I'll explain that here in just a bit, why you shouldn't be messing around with that. The CenturyLink is always going to have is going to be less cost on a monthly basis, and it's going to be no data caps that they enforce. So that's a good thing. Kind of those two things. It's always going to come down to your neighborhood and kind of what's available speed wise. But you can go out to their website and just type in your address and see what's available. The other thing is if we're really talking about internet, it's really not necessarily the speed coming to your house. It's really not necessarily the provider. As long as you can get something that's like 50 to 100, for most scenarios, that's totally fine for streaming and work from home and school from home and everything else for the most part. Really, what it comes down to is actually the hardware. So actually, if I go back to our website, I'll kind of show you a couple things there. If you go over to the services tab here, and again, by the way, if you want kind of more of a personalized one-on-one, just go up and schedule a call if you're new to cord cutting, new to free TV, new to networking and Wi-Fi and internet, whatever. So we obviously offer, expert installation services, advice, installation, consulting, training, whatever. We kind of have three main service options. One is just a TV antenna to get free TV, which again, we were just talking about, allows you to not use internet, not use data. This kind of combines both of these packages, but the one I wanted to kind of have you notice here is really what you need to make this successful is the right hardware. So again, it's not a speed issue. If you call into Comcast, I wouldn't suggest doing that because they're just going to tell you, oh, you need more speed, you need more speed, so they can charge you 70, 80, $100 a month just for internet. And then TV on top of that for your bundle, which is going to be $200 a month and just creeping up and up and up with all the fees. So if you do something like this is actually a little mesh puck is what it's called. So instead of with Comcast and CenturyLink, they have this combo modem and router together. We install a much better, newer technology that, one, saves you the rental fee, so it eliminates having to pay them every month. So you're paying $0 a month. So your TV's $0 a month off the antenna. Your modem rental fees are $0 a month with what we install for the hardware. But these little pucks are pretty amazing. It's just a newer, better technology. And basically what it's doing for you is several things. One, obviously eliminating the rental fees. Most importantly, though, again, just a newer, better technology. It allows you to actually, instead of having your modem router like buried in the basement and you can't, work on your laptop out back in the backyard, or you can't stream in your bedroom, or you can't work in your office, you can put these little pucks. They're kind of like little mini Wi-Fi routers in different locations throughout your house. So just blankets your house in coverage. And you can kind of see there's actually a diagram here on our website if you get down to the very bottom underneath the mesh network. So this whole home ultra mesh Wi-Fi, basically this diagram kind of lays it out. So you can see you can put like 2 or 3 of them in different places throughout your house. And it just makes sure that it's not range extenders, by the way, which range extenders are terrible. They don't work very well. They're different networks. They drop a lot. This is one unified network where if I'm walking around on my tablet, or if I'm streaming in my bedroom, or if I'm working in my office, it just finds the closest little Wi-Fi puck, and it's all seamless in the background, so you don't even know it. It's also much easier because you have an app on your phone, so you can control everything right from there. So it's super simple after we get it set up for people to make sure that you're doing what you need to do. And the other piece of hardware that you really need is not just the modem and the router and the mesh network like we were talking about on the front end, but it's also on the back end, because just like if you have a laptop that's 10 years old, the Wi-Fi receiver that's actually receiving what's being pushed out from the mesh pucks, if the Wi-Fi receiver in your laptop is, say, like 10 years old, that technology is pretty rough, right? So yes, you can hardwire devices, with just like a regular Ethernet cable if you have that capability in your house. We a lot of times run hardwired Ethernet cables for people to just hardwire, which is going to be the best option. But most people realistically in your house, you can't really bore through walls and whatever else. So really it's all Wi-Fi. So the first thing is, again, these little mesh pucks, the Wi-Fi pumping out of that. But the second thing is the Wi-Fi receiver. So i.e. if you have a laptop, your newer laptop is going to have a better Wi-Fi receiver in it to actually receive faster signal. Or if you're streaming, instead of like using smart TVs, which really that's where they cheap is on the smart TVs, is they don't have a great Wi-Fi receiver. So when you're streaming, you're experiencing buffering and things like that. We use kind of the latest and greatest, which is just the fastest type of Wi-Fi stick, which has a receiver in it that just makes sure your streaming is rock solid, so you don't have to worry about buffering and things like that. And there's other things, right? I mean, your network is really the backbone for everything. So if you're going to spend money, that's really the place to do it. Not spending money every month to get faster speed, but actually spending money to get the right hardware. Yes, you do pay up front, but you're not paying any rental fees anymore for your modem and your Wi-Fi router, and you're getting better equipment at the same time, so it pays for itself, right? It's kind of a no-brainer. So the takeaway is, don't pay for speed to your provider. Don't call your speed, because they're just going to sell you some nonsense. And think about it. They have all the skin in the game, right? They're not going to tell you about all these other options out there to get stuff cheaper and not rent it from them and get better equipment. Ironically, the thing we've seen over the years more than anything else, believe it or not, the thing that messes up people's internet and streaming, and they're having troubles working from home, and they're having trouble schooling from home, they're having trouble streaming with buffering and long load times and stuff like that. It actually has nothing to do with the speed most of the time, unless you're in just a terrible neighborhood with a really bad internet connection. The problem is the modem and router that ironically you're renting from your provider, Comcast and CenturyLink, is a piece of junk. A lot of times they get those things refurbished for like $20, $30, and they turn around and rent them to you from anywhere from 10 to 15 to 25 bucks a month every single month for eternity. We install a mesh Wi-Fi system for as little as like under 300 bucks actually. So instead of wasting your time and guessing and going down to Best Buy and wasting a bunch of time and money and getting the wrong thing and having to set up your network and losing your mind, why not just hire the experts? What we do is really reasonable. We just know what works. We've tested everything on the market. We just go for what's the best value, what's the easiest to use. So really what we do is very reasonable. We're just here to help. We don't have any skin in the game. We're open source. So we don't care whether you use Comcast or CenturyLink. We're always going to give you recommendations that are best for you. So again, if you're needing help, just go to the website. If you're new to free TV, or if you're new to cord cutting, new to networking, new to Wi-Fi, whatever, you don't want to deal with it, just schedule a call with one of our experts. We'll be able to walk and talk you through the whole thing and get you set up right. Again, if you go Google free TV, we've been doing this for 10 years. We got hundreds of 5-star reviews for a reason. We know what we're doing. We care about what we're doing. But we're also open source. We're going to give you an honest answer, not like calling into Comcast or CenturyLink where they're trying to sell you on getting more speed and paying more every month for it and renting your modem and router, stuff like that, which really is just not the way to do it. And then again, the other piece of it is ease of use, one remote, one interface, but also having the right hardware. So when you're receiving these streaming signals, not only are you getting your Netflix and your Amazon Prime and stuff like that. If I go back to the interface here, super simple, right? It's all front and center. I'm not changing inputs. I'm not going back and forth on different remotes and stuff like that. So we make it easy to use. We use the stuff that we know works the best, and we save you money, but it's all open source, right? We don't care what you use for internet providers. We don't tell you what you use for streaming services. We're just going to match what fits your needs best, and that's what we're all about. So anyway, we've kind of covered a lot of different topics there. Like I said, we'll have other future webinar topics in the future about data caps, about other internet options, more detail about internet options, what's coming in the future for true competition. Actually, believe it or not, there's actually Amazon and SpaceX and Tesla. They're launching satellites into outer space to get cheaper internet. There's 5G providers like Verizon and AT&T and Starry that are actually launching 5G home internet, which is actually high speed, not like cell phone internet, which I wouldn't recommend using your cell phone as a hotspot for home internet. It's going to be terrible. Plus, you got to run into data issues. So anyway, that kind of covers a lot of that. I'll give you a real quick, just high-level summary about streaming services while we're here. Obviously, internet, Wi-Fi, streaming, it kind of all ties together, right? Your internet comes in, it goes into your modem, then it hopefully goes into something like a mesh puck, like we talked about, not the modem router rental from your internet provider. That mesh puck then pushes out Wi-Fi signal to your laptop, your desktop, or your streaming stick. Again, we don't recommend using smart TVs. Most of them really just aren't going to work really well. They're clunky. They don't have all the apps. Most importantly, they don't have a good Wi-Fi receiver on them. We'll get into the questions here in just a minute towards the end, but I want to finish up on streaming. So obviously there's a lot of great streaming services out there. That's why 5 million people cut the cord just last year alone in 2019. There's great things like Netflix. Netflix kind of opened up the floodgates, right? Because people are like, hey, I'm paying $10, $15 a month to Netflix, and I have thousands of movies and TV shows that are winning awards that I can watch on demand, commercial free whenever I want, right? And they have a lot of great stuff out there. It's pretty amazing when you're watching Netflix 50% of the time that you're only paying $10, $15 a month. And then you look at your cable bill and you're like, wow, I'm paying $200 a month. And I watch this like 20% of the time. Like, why am I doing this? Yes, good question. Why are you doing this, right? Give us a call, give Free TV a call, or schedule a call on our website, freetvee.com. And we can help you make sure you're saving money. Our average customer saves $1,500 a month. But besides getting these just regular streaming services, you can actually get things, amazing stuff for free, which we load up a bunch of free stuff besides just YouTube. There's actually streaming services like Sling and some others that, believe it or not, they actually have about any cable channel you want for next to nothing. Like I said before, we install TV antennas. We don't do the little cheapo indoor antennas because they just don't work. We do a much more powerful outdoor attic antenna for free TV because it doesn't use any data, and you get 50, 60 channels for free, including all your major networks. So every single Broncos game, all your local news. Really, that's kind of the base for TV. And then you just add on some of these other applications such as Sling. And basically, that's going to be a month-to-month type of thing where you're getting, depending on what cable channels you want, there's actually different competitors, which, again, if you schedule a call with us, we can kind of talk you through exactly what matches up, what you need and what matches up your specific situation. But anyway, basically, if you can imagine any channel you want, any cable channel you want, month to month, no contracts. So again, saving you a huge amount of money, taking your gigantic bundle from $200 a month with Comcast down to $40 to $50 a month for internet only, taxes less than $1. That's your bill, period. You're adding on free channels for the antenna. You can even add on things like, as an example, this is kind of an integrated service that we install the hardware for in the back end, where you don't have to be techie because we do all the work for you, but you can see I'm actually getting a grid TV guide. So these are all my free antenna channels. And then I mix in stuff like Fox News or ESPN or whatever else I want for cable channels. Even the grid guide is all free. The DVR where you can pause live TV and record series and skip commercials, that's all free. The only thing you pay for is just whatever cable channel bundle you want. Again, no contracts, month to month. They range in price from, like, the ones we recommend at least are usually like $20 to $30 a month. They give you the top 30, 40, 50, 60 cable channels in a bundle. So just a much, much smarter way to do it where you're saving a huge amount of money and you're not stuck on contracts with, cable and satellite and the big corporations. So anyway, that's kind of the just really brief summary on cutting the cord and getting any channel you want and how to save money. We have obviously future webinars that are more specific related to that. So you can tune into those in the future. I will go back to the website and just show you a couple of things there real briefly, and then we'll answer some of the questions we have in the chat. Again, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat on the right-hand side. If I go back home, if you have more specific questions that are going to, be more kind of a one-on-one consultation type of thing, I would just, again, go to our website here. You can see it's FREETV.com, so free, and then TVEE.com. And then if you want a one-on-one consultation, just click on schedule a call there. For future webinars, which will be probably posting more of those towards the end of this week, you can click on watch a webinar. But anyway, if I go back to the home page here, I'll kind of tune in and check out some of the questions we have going on here. Let's see. So Frank Virginia says, when I access on-demand or streaming applications with DirecTV, I get buffering. Will this occur if I cut the cord and stream using free TV? Very good question. So no. Now, if you're kind of piecemealing something together and whatever, yeah, you'll have streaming issues. But again, part of the reason you hire the experts at free TV, because this is what we do every day, all day, every day, right? So we install all the hardware, like the little mesh puck, like the little streaming sticks, for a reason. We use what we use for a reason. 80% of the hardware out there on the market, quite frankly, is junk. It doesn't work well. They're just like a one and done type of thing where they're just going to sell you something and be gone. Again, we're open source. We don't care. We just know what works the best, what's the best value. Yes, when you cut the cord, you do pay more up front. You're just taking the $125 a month we save people on average, using that to buy the hardware you need to get to the channels you want, make it easy to use. So again, it's a no-brainer because it pays for itself. And at the same time, not only are you cutting the cord and saving money with free TV, but you're also getting your control back as well. And there's no contracts for anything. And you're improving your setup, right? Because now you have better Wi-Fi throughout your whole entire house that's much easier to use because you have an app on your phone where you can control everything as well. So again, we're about ease of use, about open source, so we don't have any skin in the game. We're about saving you money, obviously, on a monthly basis and on a yearly basis, not just a bait and switch like cable and satellite. Our average customer saves $1,500 a year forever. And, of course, the ability to have freedom to do what you want when you want, right? Which is really the way it should be, right? Let me go down and see if there's any questions. Concerned about where I live. Yeah, so it does vary by situation based on where you live. So I would just schedule a call with us, if you're in the Colorado area, which is where we're based out of, and we'll be able to kind of walk you through, how, not only what channels and how to get those and, that type of thing, but also how to save the most money and how to figure out, like what in your specific house your antenna coverage looks like for free TV channels, what your internet coverage looks like through CenturyLink and Comcast. We can walk you through all that stuff. Again, cutting the cord, yeah, it is complicated, right? There's a lot of different touch points out there. That's why we exist. Instead of trying to waste a bunch of time and money and lose your sanity with TV antennas and networking and all this stuff, and you end up sleeping on your couch because your spouse is so upset because it's just difficult to use and it's not working right. That's why you hire the experts. So we can walk you through all of those things. If speed isn't the issue, why do I get buffering is the next question on there. So again, to kind of recap, it depends on your situation. Certainly, there's a lot of different things that go into it. Actually, if I go out here to the blog that is on this exact same topic, you'll kind of see on this blog, I'll show you one thing there, how to make your internet faster is the blog I'm talking about, the most recent blog under the news section of the website. If I scroll down here, basically it's these things right here. So your internet provider, that's part of it. Your speed, yeah, that's part of it. But really, it's the hardware. It could be the networking, layout of your house. Could be different things. We analyze all that stuff. We actually have a signal meter when we come to your house to analyze all that stuff. Obviously, we use the best hardware. Usually, it's the hardware, just from experience, that causes the buffering. Whether that's using the combo modem router that they're renting you, which is a piece of junk and can't push out strong Wi-Fi signals throughout your house, or it's your smart TV that you're using just doesn't have a good Wi-Fi receiver on it, or maybe your laptop, maybe there's interference in your house, or if you're going outside, then you're going even further and trying to get your Wi-Fi signal further, which is why we can move one of these mesh pucks right next to like your outdoor area, your back deck or whatever, as an example. Or if you have a Ring doorbell and your Ring doorbell is having issues, it's probably because the interference is just getting between wherever your modem router is placed and your Ring doorbell just isn't working. So we can fix all those problems for you. Next question in chat there is, when you say 50 to 100, what are you referring to? So I'm referring to speed, mbps. So 50 to 100 is your speed, megabits per second. So again, you don't need a gig, which is 1,000 megabits per second, which is what they're always going to try to sell you if they have it available in your area. I don't have 1,000, and I do this all day, every day, right? I work from home. I got kids. Like, if anyone needs 1,000, it's probably me, and I don't even have it because I'm not paying extra for something that I can't get. Unfortunately, like most of you probably at home, I don't have a whole lot of options for internet where I live. I basically just have Comcast for an option because CenturyLink is ridiculously slow in my area. That could be totally opposite for your house, though. So it just varies from situation to situation. And again, you really only need 5 for streaming Netflix. I would recommend a minimum of 20, but really, depending on your situation, if you're single, maybe that's all you need. If you're, married and have a bunch of kids and they're doing streaming and gaming and whatever, you're probably gonna need more like 100 or 200. But for our average customers, 75% of our customers, we recommend saving on the monthly rate every month, not renting your modem and router, obviously, but also not paying for speed and just getting it down to, like, usually you can pay around 40 to 50, 55 bucks a month tops, even off of promotions for internet. So you shouldn't be paying any more than that. Let's see here. Next question. The brand totally varies. There's different types of modems. There's different type of routers. So it really varies. Again, we just install the stuff that's the best value. So it just kind of depends on your situation and what we're doing for you. How can I be sure an antenna at my location will provide good reception? Yeah, so we're talking TV antennas there. That's a very good question. We deal with that day in, day out. We're experts at it. So actually, if you go onto the website, again, 8 letters, free, and then tvee.com, I would just schedule a call, or you can actually just go to the contact us button and just type in your name and phone number and email address and address. We can actually check your physical address remotely without even coming out, and we'll be able to tell you right up front whether we can guarantee signal at your house or not. So again, Steve, that's a really good question for TV antenna signal for the free TV channels. We actually have a system, because we've been doing this forever. We got it down to a science where we can actually do it remotely without even coming out to your house. And when we do come out to your house, the very first thing we do before we hop on your roof or in your attic, we actually have a signal meter. So we have all the tools, we have the knowledge, not just remotely to do it, but also when we come out to your house, we pop it into the signal meter. Not only does it tell us, hey, here's what channels and how strong they are, but it also tells us here's the best place to put the TV antenna. Again, we only do outdoor attic TV antennas because that way we can guarantee signal. Again, we got hundreds of 5-star reviews for a reason. Doing TV antennas, doing all this networking stuff is not easy, right? Helping you cut the cord and get away from Comcast and CenturyLink and all these corporations and save money, that's not easy either, right? There's so much misinformation out there. There's a lot of, even if you go into Best Buy, quite frankly, there's a lot of misinformation they give you too, unfortunately, because they're tied into contracts. They want to sell you certain things. We don't care, right? We're open source. We don't get paid back from anybody. So anyway, that's that question. So yeah, if you have a newer technology, whether that's a Wi-Fi router, whether that's a mesh network, you should have 2 bands. You should have a 2.4 and a 5.0. If you have a good Wi-Fi network, something like we set up, you will have not only 2 bands, but you'll also have easy access to those 2 bands to see what your Wi-Fi name is, what your password is. You can set up a guest network. So if you have contractors coming over, those are not, to me, those are pretty much requirements nowadays, right? You should have a good security on your network so that someone just can't hack your network and get into your bank accounts. Everything that we set up gives you all that. It gives you an app on your phone. You can control all that. You can control parental controls on there. You can do a speed test right from the app on your phone. And yes, it has 2.4 and 5.0. Again, we're getting kind of techie here, but the basic difference, 2.4 goes further. Maybe not quite as fast, but goes further. So most devices that are portable should be on 2.4. 5.0 is a newer kind of bandwidth that actually is faster, but it doesn't go as far. So in other words, you don't want to put your laptop probably on 5.0 unless it's just sitting there right by your Wi-Fi mesh puck all day, every day, because if you're outdoors, you're probably not going to be able to connect to it. You want to connect to 2.4. So anyway, that's that question. I think that's all the questions today. So again, thanks for tuning in. We'll have some future topics on data caps, other internet provider competition coming next year. So kind of tune in for those. We don't have anything linked out there yet, but I'll be putting those webinar topics up probably towards the end of this week. If you're new to internet networking, all this stuff is kind of complicated and over your head. Trust me, we totally get it. That's why we do what we do. If cord cutting is new to you, if you're tired of getting ripped off from cable and satellite, if you have friends and family that are tired of that or need help, please send them to Free TV. We're here to help. Again, we're open source. We're really just here to provide education, information. We're just empowering people to make smarter decisions, not just about TV, but about internet, about saving money, because especially with these times, you don't want to have to not be able to retire or come out of retirement and go back to work. We can get you all the same TV channels, same exact channels, same exact services, grid guide, DVR. We can actually improve your network. We can save you the rental fees. We can take your gigantic bundle from $200 a month down to like 40 to 50 bucks a month for internet only. Get rid of all the broadcast TV fees and sports TV fees and box fees and HD fees and DVR fees. So our average customer saves $1,500 every year. That's $1,500 every year. It's kind of a no-brainer. The only ownership on you is just to go to our website and just schedule a call. Click on schedule a call. That'll get you in with one of our experts. We can have a one-on-one consultation. We'll be able to tell you exactly how much money we're saving you every month and answer any questions you have, whether it's related to TV antennas or streaming or channels, or how to save money, or how to fix up your network, modems, routers, whatever questions you have. That's where I would go next. So anyway, thanks for joining. We'll look forward to having you join in future webinars in the coming weeks. If you just kind of bookmark our website, keep that handy, go to watch our webinar for future webinar topics. Toward the end of this week, we'll be sending out stuff for the next month. And then if you want a one-on-one consultation, which I'd recommend, just go to schedule a call on the website there. Or you can just give us a call directly, really, 303-794-8600, or the website, www.free, F-R-E-E, and then TV, frweetv.com. So 8 letters, frweetv.com. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Have a great day.